Okay, ready to go.
All right.
Well, welcome everybody. I know we have a recording for this, so if you want to rewatch this, Mom and Wendy, we'll have that for you, and you can send it to other people. We'll post it, I think, in the UOCC group, since it is being used as a UOCC fundraiser. And so for anybody that doesn't know me on the recording, I'm Jennifer Strickland. I have a tower garden. I've been growing my veggies and I love them. And then I invited Deb and Susan to come and share with you all, because they are the pros. They're the ones that I learned from. And since I've been showing it off so much, a lot of people are asking. So yeah, thank you ladies for being here. Really appreciate it. Deb's going to do the presentation for us.
Awesome. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for inviting me to share one of my passions. I've been growing on tower gardens for September will be 4 years, and love it. It's actually become a little bit of an addiction. I'm guessing everyone on here is somewhat oil related, so you understand that good addiction versus a bad addiction. But let's get started with the presentation. So let's all introduce ourselves, and that way we're more cooperatively doing this. So I'm Debbie Irwin. I live in Canada. I live in Ontario, so it is already very cold here. We have not had snow, but we have had frost. I'm a biological dental hygienist, and I have a typo there. Sorry about that. I'm also a myofunctional therapist, which is kind of my new passion for helping especially little people develop really great oral cavities. I'm a certified biofeedback specialist like Sue, certified natural health practitioner. I'm a wife of 36 years, a mom of 4 grown and independent children. I like to say that. I am a grandmother, or Abba, and a 3rd generation in the dirt gardener. So I grew up with my hands and feet in the dirt, growing things, propagating things, and actually on both sides of my family. So my grandmother on one side and both my grandparents on the other side were gardeners. And I love all natural alternatives. I love detox, and I love to sing. That's me.
I guess I'll go next. So my name is Susan Johnson. I am coming in from Dandridge, Tennessee. My husband and I moved to Tennessee about 4 years ago from the New England area, bought a 24-acre farm with my sister Casey. Our goal is to be completely sustainable. So we do some gardening here. We have cows coming in the spring, it looks like. And like Debbie, I love to garden. I've gardened my whole life. Tower gardening, Debbie introduced me to tower gardening, and I actually have a tower going 24/7, 365 in my office. You might actually hear it go off in here. Not only do I love the lights, but I love the fact that I can have fresh greens all the time. Some of my passions: I'm a certified natural health practitioner. I'm an Institute of Integrative Nutrition health coach. And my passion is really helping people detoxify their life and understand how food impacts their health, as long as other parts. I like detox like Deb does. I have 2 children. Mine are both grown and on their own as well. Looking forward to here in the States. I'm coming back for Thanksgiving with their significant others and their families. And no grandchildren yet, hoping soon, maybe. Well, I won't push it. And, you know, have 3 dogs here and just love the farm life. And, you know, again, my passion is holistic, organic, sustainable, and, you know, love to share that with other people. So thanks, Jen. And I'm actually hosting this for Jen and the orphanage. So I really appreciate any support. If you are inclined to get into the tower gardening, anything that might come our way because of you joining Tower Garden will definitely go right back to the orphanage. So it's just a great thing to do. So thanks, Jen, for hosting.
You're welcome. Did you want me to elaborate on my introduction?
Absolutely. You never know who's going to share this to someone that doesn't know you.
Yeah, and Deb, share about the orphanage as well. It's such an amazing passion.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Jen Strickland again. And so I don't have all of the certifications, qualifications that these two ladies do, but that's why I lean back on them, because I can ask them all the questions. But my background, well, I have a weird background, but so yes, all things like organic, holistic, natural living, all of that is my biggest passion. And helping outside of that, it's helping other people to do the same, helping other people to discover that they can feel better than they realized they could feel and live a better life because of all of that. So so it's a big passion of mine. Being able to grow our own food is a big deal because, we don't have any control over what we get. So I know Deb is going to be talking about that quite a bit. So yes, I'm the executive director of Ugandan Orphan Childcare Ministries. Wendy is on here also listening, and she's the financial director. So we have an orphanage in Uganda. We have a widows group out there, and just food security is a challenge, especially in developing countries like that. So, if you end up deciding you want to buy a tower, then a percentage of that is going to go to help provide them food. So that's kind of a cool, give back there to be able to do that. So anyway, I just appreciate you ladies so much. Thank you for taking the time out today to present to anybody here that is interested in my little favorite thing lately. Well, for the past year and a half at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll pass that back over to you, Debbie.
Okay. Let's see. Does not want to. Let's see. There we go. So talk a little bit about my why. In March 2020, my biggest concern, as many of us who are really trying to be non-toxic, was
Hey, Deb, your screen didn't change.
Okay.
Let's try it again. I know your next screen talks about your why, so.
Yeah. Let's try that. Is it up?
No, we still see the intro screen. At least I do.
Me too.
That is very strange because it's changing on my. I'm still sharing as far as I know.
Did you share just the front screen, or did you share the screen that you can actually change?
I thought I actually shared both.
You might want to just quickly stop your share and share again. Make sure you've got one that it's like your desktop or something.
Yeah, it's saying resume. Resume. Let's see. Let me do this again. Screen share. Share that. Click to exit full screen. Okay. Are you seeing that now?
No, we've got a blank screen right now, so hang on, let's see what we get.
Your screen share is paused. I did not pause it, but let's stop it again.
Technology, it's always everybody's favorite. There we go. I've got my why.
Okay, you're good. So this isn't in present mode, but maybe I'll just leave it this way. That's okay with you guys?
Yeah.
All right. So in 2020, my biggest concern and fear was providing good nutrition with clean food for my family all year long in a country where we have a very short growing season. Now in Canada, we have the whole cold, but I know in places like Florida and Texas, they have the whole heat issue. So trying to grow things outside in a hot time, especially like fragile things like lettuce, which can be our most toxic things that we ingest, it was a big, huge issue for me. I believe planting seeds in our younger generation can have huge impact. And our food supply is now very unpredictable, as I'm sure all of you know. And here we go again. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I'm going to have to scroll up. Okay. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so some of my inspiration, this is some pictures that I took, the first 3 screens. The first picture is celery. The really dark green celery is the celery I grew on my tower garden in my first round. And the other one was organic celery from the grocery store. And so you can see the actual difference in the chlorophyll levels. And anyone that has any nutritional information knows that the more chlorophyll we can get into our bodies, the better. So, and the flavor of this celery is unbelievable. The next slide is the very first cherry tomatoes I grew on my tower. And the next screen is a celery that I grew from basic scraps. So I like to do some juicing periodically when I'm doing detox, and this is a scrap of the celery that I grew from the scrap. So I didn't even need a seed for that, because celery does take a long time. And our little logo up here, we like to joke, is it's time to grow up. Instead of needing land, because not everybody has land, not everybody has a garden, but everybody needs to eat really good nutritional food that they know where the source came from. And this slide is actually kind of passion from a friend who's a tower gardener, and she lives in California where they have water restrictions. She said, I couldn't grow a garden in California if I wanted, because I'm only allowed to water once or twice a week. And sometimes that's not even allowed. So much of the western half of the United States have severe droughts. And it's especially bad in California and the Southwest. Drought emergencies have been declared. Farmers and ranchers are suffering greatly. The states are facing water cutbacks. And of course, we know all about the wildfires that are burning more frequently. And it's just the dry conditions. Tim Blank is actually the developer of Tower Garden, and he was instrumental in getting this whole thing into our home. So if you were ever at Epcot as a teenager or a young person and you went to the land and you took that little boat ride through the little dome, they showed you how they were going to grow food in the future. Well, the future is now. And it's all about aeroponics, not hydroponics, because we don't always want smelly fish in our lives. Tim Blank was approached by NASA to actually develop a food system for the Mars project, which was later scrapped, but they were trying to come up with a way that we could sustain life in space. And that is what this actually stemmed from. So if you ever watch The Magic School Bus, there's actually a really cool cartoon with, this guy who's developing ways to eat in space, and it is all based on Tower Garden. So it's been around a long time. An easy solution to feeding a growing population is Tower Garden. We know what we know about Tower Gardens is it grows nutrient dense foods, and that's up to us, the amount of nutrition that we put into, or tonic that we put into the water. It uses 90% less land, which can be better for the earth, especially with mass produced crops, which are kind of stripping our land. It uses 98% less water because it's an enclosed recirculating system. It has been studied and researched by NASA, and it's got published research by the University of Mississippi. So if you're into the research, if you're a nerdy green, like I am, you want to read all the stuff. The University of Mississippi has done a lot of that research and has actual research papers. Tower Garden is clinically proven with an average 30% higher yield. With antioxidant equivalency. And I will say this study was done a few years ago. I would say that we can actually boost that antioxidant equivalency with our tonic if we wish. And if you've seen the celery in the grocery store lately, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It takes less time, less maintenance, less land, less water, and we can't all be farmers. That's just the truth. So let's talk about the plant foods. So when I got involved with Tower Garden, because of my history with my husband being mercury toxic, I'm very, very careful about anything I put in or on my body. I wanted to know what the tonic was actually made of, because I did not want to put heavy metals back into my husband's body that was already ravaged from heavy metal poisoning. So this is a great fertilizer. It's aeroponic fertilizer, and it uses clean and pure ionic earth minerals. So what does that mean? It means they're not synthetic. And when they're ionic, it means that all of the heavy metals have actually been removed. So we're sure there's no heavy metals going into the tonic. You cannot prove that in earth. In dirt, you cannot prove that. You don't know where that rain that's actually precipitating on your land is coming from, what's in that rain. So I love the assurance that what's in the tonic is clean. There's over 60 ionic trace minerals, which is really important for bones and teeth and sensitivity and arthritis and all that stuff. So a lot of people are deficient in ionic and trace minerals. Something that we actually promote in our dental office is to get trace minerals into people every day. And studied by the University of Mississippi, home of the FDA Natural Center for Natural Product-Based Research. So I have it behind me. I don't know if you can see that, but when we take off the screen share, I can go through that, the size of what you get with your Tower Garden. So the gardening boom in 2020, the gardening boom was crazy. The pandemic forced people to find creative ways to stay productive, healthy, and entertained. With restaurants short on staff, grocery stores short on supply, and consumers with extra time on their hand, the interest in home gardening reached heights like never before. In May 2021, the Tower Garden Company polled more than 2,000 people across the US about their food buying habits and self-sufficiency behaviors over the last year. So in Canada, the sale of Tower Gardens increased 500% in 2021. They couldn't keep stock in. And then of course we had the transportation issue. Trying to get Tower Gardens into Canada is ridiculous. They're actually manufactured in the States. They're actually manufactured right down the road from you, Sue, in Tennessee. So for you to get your hands on a Tower Garden would be really, really easy. In Canada, not so easy. So 4 fun facts that came out of all of the research that they were doing is that most Americans and Canadians started gardening during the pandemic. People that had never planted a seed or grown anything started. Most are prioritizing now mental and physical and nutritional health. People are looking at a little differently what they put in their mouth. Just, you know, they've had more time to do research, and growing their own food has given them that taste, that flavor to do more. Families are growing greens to save money. A lot of people are actually doing it to save money and time. And many are focused more on sustainability and less waste. We often joke about the food in the grocery store is like, you know, jet-lagged food covered in plastic. So we Tower gardeners have a different sense of humor. So it's also green technology, not greenwash technology, actually green technology made in the US, USDA approved, it's UV stabilized, and it's made of food grade safe plastic. So that means that you can actually take your tower outside. In Canada, for me, that's like 5 months of the year that I have towers outside, and I still leave towers inside as well. So those really difficult to grow in the heat crops are inside my house. Tower Garden is a closed system. It's a technology that's used to recycle 100% of the nutrients and the water. So in places like California, where water's an issue, this is really important. This means that the plants use as little as 5% of the nutrients and water that is commonly used in conventional and organic farming. So how does a tower garden work? It's basically 1, 2, 3, 4. Plants are grown in a soilless medium called rock wool, and not all rock wool is the same. Just know that, just like all essential oils are not equal, not all rock wool is the same. There is dirty rock wool and there is clean rock wool. We want to use the cleanest rock wool, and it's basically made from minerals. So that is kind of great. Number 2, the reservoir stores the plant nutrient solution in the water, and the water goes up. Number 3, cascades down through the tower and nourishes the plants. And is in little as 4 weeks, plants are ready to harvest, which, let me tell you, I started sprouting in the last month, and it is crazy how fast this stuff grows. So the soilless medium rock wool you can buy from other aeroponic or hydroponic suppliers. I personally buy all of mine from Tower Garden just because I know they're basically want to make sure that we are getting the cleanest of clean. And it's nice that there's no dirt. It reduces bugs, it reduces molds, mildews, and smells. And the reservoir and the solution we already talked about is, and we'll go over the comparison between the 2 towers a little bit later, but up to 20 gallons in the reservoir. So it's basically a plug and play system. The actual science behind how the water cascades down is huge. So I know someone that when I was talking Tower Gardens, like back in 2021, they're like, I'm going to build my own Tower Garden. And I'm like, cool. Like NASA spent thousands and thousands of dollars with engineers to get the tip of the reservoir exactly where the water is going to come down, so the plant's not too wet, not too dry, and everything can be grown, and it's recycled, and it's on a timer, and the lights are on a timer. So I'm just guessing that this is so much easier than building your own. And honestly, in a few weeks, people are eating off them. The cool thing is, if you're going away and you don't want your plants to grow as fast, you can reduce your nutrient level so things slow down a little bit, which I often do if I'm going away for more than 2 weeks. And I'll also do a big harvest and share with all my friends and family so that when I come back, I don't have a jungle. I love this graphic, basically eating food garden to table versus, you know, local farm, which is what most of us will do with things that we can't grow in our tower to table. You cut out that middleman, but you also cut out the time it takes from plant to plate. So a lot of people are not aware that within 1 hour of harvest, food loses up to 1/3 of nutrients. It's an oxidation thing that happens. So things that are processed quickly are great, but if we can actually pick it and eat it, the taste is better and the nutritional factor is better. And then you go down to the farmer market, you have farm, transport, market, plate, and then we go down farther, supermarket, farm, transport, packing, distributing, store, plate, and then if you go food delivery, you even get farther out. So we don't want jet-lagged food that's nutrient lacking. We want the best bang for our buck as far as nutrition goes. So what can you grow? Anything that grows above the ground, you can grow. Although I have had the odd beet and radish that I kind of left and forgot, and I had to actually take my tower apart and like to get that beet. It was actually a beet greens that I was growing, and I was cutting the greens, and they keep growing. And then all of a sudden I looked in and I thought, that's weird. My tower's sitting kind of cockeyed, and the beet was actually growing and popping the next level up. So I took it apart and I actually had a weird looking little beet growing in there. But basically anything that grows above the ground. So root vegetables, you're still going to have to rely on your outdoor garden or your farmer's market, but indoor, all your greens, all your herbs. And this is kind of a list, but it doesn't really stop there. I mean, there's amazing Asian greens and tons of herbs. And what's not on here is flowers. So if you love to do your own tinctures, if you're into making calendula or different things like that, you can do that. And my newest love is growing sprouts. So I love sprouts, and they're expensive. And they, you have to, and they go smelly. And if you grow them, like, so I tried growing them in the jar. I have the sprouting jars, which are great, but you have to rinse them twice a day. And sometimes our lives get so busy that by the time you get to them and you forgot to rinse them a couple of times, they're smelly, and then you're worried about, are they going to make you sick? So the Tower Garden does all that work for you. You do have to do a little modification on your rock wool to give it a bigger open space. And I have just found out in the last week that if you allow the sprouts to start sprouting off the tower and not with the light, that they actually sprout about 2 days faster off the tower. But for me, I just like to throw the seeds in, pop it in the tower, and kind of rotate through. So when one's almost finished, I'll just pop a new one in and keep going. This guy is one of my inspirations. I've heard him speak a couple of times. He runs the Green Bronx Machine. He is a teacher who is passionate about teaching students, and he's from the Bronx, where most kids do not graduate from grade 8, let alone high school. And he has a program that has got kids engaged in growing their own food and understanding the importance of nutrition. And he is growing in classrooms. He actually has an entire something that he's come up with, like an actual school program that schools can buy to help kindergarten to grade 12, and using the curriculum, going through everything from English to science and math to all kinds of things. And he is a true inspiration. So if you want to get inspired by Stephen Ritz, he's a lot of fun, and all of the curriculums he has written are amazing. Tower Garden actually offers a whole curriculum for school as well, K to 12, that is downloadable by Susan or myself. We can forward that to you. But I love getting the kids involved in growing their own food. And they actually have research that says kids that plant their own food and watch it grow and pick it actually eat healthier. So homeschool moms, this is a huge, huge deal for daycares, for schools, and for homeschool parents to actually have an entire curriculum. It actually meets the educational requirements for teaching future generations to do all the stuff. Like, it teaches all of this stuff: social responsibility, social justice, nutrition, which is not taught in most schools. And I just love the whole protocol that they have. So there's 2 different Tower Gardens available in North America. There is the Flex, which is the bigger unit. It's an indoor-outdoor unit, which is 20 gallons. It has a large base, and the base unit is 5 feet 2 inches tall. And then there's the home unit. The home unit was actually designed for the European market, but we got to test it out before they sent it off to Europe. It's a little bit smaller, so it's meant for smaller spaces. And it's 13 gallons. And it's about a 3.5 by 3.5 space with the lights on it, where the Flex is about a 3 by 3. So a little bit smaller base. And the reason that they say this is indoor is it's on wheels. So if you have a high wind area, it can tip over. I have friends that have figured out how to use it in a more protected deck area and used it outside. Of course, the lights come off when they go outside. The difference in ports is the home unit has 32 ports to grow in, 16 regular and 16 microgreen. Jen, is this what you have? You have the home, right? And Sue, you have the Flex. Is that right?
I have the Flex.
Okay. And so the Flex has less ports, but it's a Flex because it's flexible and you can grow that tower. So let's talk about that a little bit. So here's the home unit as a base unit. In the US, when you order it, there's actually a code to order it with lights. In Canada, we have to add the lights. So on my slide, it says LED grow lights are optional. In Canada, they're actually not optional because we don't get enough sunshine for it to be optional, but they are a separate order number. It has built-in wheels and they're leveling wheels. So if you have an older home, the floors are a little uneven, or you're growing outside and you need to balance that so the water's not going to one side, you can level the wheels. The microgreen extension is part of this unit. And there's a water level, which the Flex doesn't have, but if you had a handy husband, I bet you could actually put one of those in. It's not too complicated. And then the home unit comes with baskets. I'll just show you what actually I'll do that after because I don't think my screen is big enough, but I always use clips, and I always, like 90% of the time, unless I am using scraps to grow. So green onions, celery, other things like that. Then I'll use my baskets. New this year was the actual cage that goes on the home unit. So people that want to grow things like snow peas or tomatoes, smaller tomato, compact tomatoes, can actually get this cage to go on it to grow things that tend to crawl. And then the Flex unit, so it is totally flexible. So we have optional clips, which in my mind are not optional. And then you have optional extension kits, and they come 3 different ways. The extension units come with 4 extra normal ports and 16 micros, or 8 regular ports, or 4 levels, which is 32 micros. So they can add on to this. And the optional combo kits come with everything you need for that kit. So when you order that, everything's there. Optional LED lights. I believe in the States as well, you have to add the LED lights to your unit. And the reason being is some people will actually grow all of their outdoor crops on tower gardens. There's amazing farms. You can look up tower garden farms, and I follow a number of them. And then the optional wheels. I love the wheels because I have my little personal indoor farm going in my living room, and I like to be able to move it around and vacuum, or even turn my tower if I want some extra light on the opposite side, just outside light. And I can show you my units later. So every single growing system comes with everything you need to get started. It comes with seeds. It comes with this little tiny kit here with seeds, vermiculite, baskets. It comes with your tonic, A and B, which is your growing ionic mineral tonic. It comes with a pump that's specific for continuous use. It comes with a pH balancing kit, so you can measure your pH, and most people find they'll do that for the first few months, and after that they just understand what's going on with their plants. And depending on when you order your tower, the season depends on what seeds, but you basically get Swiss chard, some herbs, some lettuces, and some kale. And it does change country to country and season to season. The number one thing that I love about Tower Garden, and I think I'll skip over the Canadian pricing because I think everyone on here is US, but they break it down into monthly payments, and that's because Tower Garden actually offers you 0 interest to get started. And basically they'll divide your whatever your initial order is into 12 monthly payments with no interest. And their whole premise behind this is if you buy a tower garden and start growing, that the food that you've eliminated from your grocery bill is actually going to pay for your tower. but a lot of people can't afford to do that upfront cost, especially during COVID when people didn't have that weekly paycheck coming in. So they've kept on with this 0%, and I hopefully they just continue it. But basically, a home unit is $87.50. That's your base unit, your LED, and if you paid in full, it would be $1,050, but $87.50 makes it a lot more palatable for most people. And then the Flex, this is the base unit. And anything that this is the base unit with the support cage and a wheeled dolly and one extension. And the extensions are basically whichever extension kit you wanted to put in there. I think there's only a $5 difference, but basically $108.33 a month. And then after 12 months, you're eating for free, basically. So different resources, definitely the Green Bronx machine with Stephen Ritz. He's got a lot of great information. He's on Facebook, he's on social media, or you can just follow his website. Your Tower Garden reps, so myself or Sue, for tips and tricks. Once you've done this for a few years, you get a lot of tips and tricks, and you play around with different seed types. And if you have a rep that's a little nerdy, they'll do their research. And then seeds, always purchasing organic, heirloom, or non-GMO seeds. And most of us have local seed sources. You can't ship Canadian seeds to the US and vice versa. So whoever you're close to will help you. I'm sure Jen's sourced someplace local in Texas for organic seeds. So do you have a vision? This is actually the first picture with me, and this is actually the Tower Garden Farm in Orlando at their convention center. He has 100 different towers, and he grows all the greens for the convention center. So the food, if you eat at the convention center and you're eating something green, it came from this farm. There are farms in the middle of deserts. There are farms in Iceland. Most recently, my friend who's Canadian has started a Tower Garden farm in an old mall that wasn't being used. It was shut down, and she has 100 towers going in there, and they actually have a storefront. So you can go buy Tower Garden grown lettuce, sprouts, herbs right from their storefront. This is the Canadian team when we went down to Tennessee, this group of passionate tower gardeners, and we stopped and saw Sue on our way back. And just in the middle of the winter, when you go and you look at your tower garden and you have these juicy red cherry tomatoes, they never make it to the table, by the way, because I am popping those in my mouth when I see them perfectly ripened, and it's just a great snack. So thank you so much for listening to me go on and on and on. And you can tell I'm a little bit passionate about that. Jen, did you want me to do a quick tour of my towers before we go into questions?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so I'm going to use my cell phone, and I'll stop the screen share as well. Oh, we got a few more people on here. Okay, let me just grab my phone.
And Deb, while you're setting that up, one of the things that I think is really interesting is that first purchase that you make, you can add extra things in there, and they will spread that out over time. So I took the time to buy extra rock wool. I would highly recommend maybe you buy some extra minerals if you don't want to have to put that up. You can see I have the big ones behind me, but it comes with the small ones in your original investment. So if you are someone that knows you're going to be passionate about this, and it is a lot of fun. I mean, my husband and I eat off ours every single night. We like spicy greens and have a number of different things. You can add extra stuff into that initial purchase and then split that up over time, which is ideal because it really brings down that price when you look at adding all that other stuff in there. Like the clips, the clips that Debbie talked about, it comes with the basket, But these clips are really fun because the rock wool sits right in it and you drop it into your tower garden. The baskets are great, but the roots can get very bound up inside of them on certain plants. So this is a really nice thing to have to use on your tower garden. And like I said, I do mine inside all the time. I love it. Deb, you ready to go there?
I am so. Hopefully you're not getting feedback, are you?
No, we're good so right now.
Okay, so the tower right here is actually a flex tower with an extension. And it's on wheels. And I'll give you a quick tour of that. So down here, I have some beans growing. They're yellow beans, so they're almost ready.
Hey, Deb.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You didn't mute your other one, so you're back. It had gone back to your other room. You're good. Keep going. You're back.
Okay. I have some compact pickling cucumbers. You can see the beautiful blooms. I have part of a cage, not the whole height. These are some of my favorite little guys to check on. I've got snow peas and you can see the beautiful blooms. And then I have different kinds of kale. I have some compact tomatoes going up here. Arugula, Tower Garden arugula is unbelievable. It is the most flavorful arugula. And then I have some Swiss chard here. What else do I have going here? Over here, this is a home unit. I've got some crazy sweet peas down here. And I love just to try all the different greens. Some Swiss chard, a little different kind. If you don't know the nutritional value of Swiss chard, it's unbelievable. So this is the way that the home unit comes with the two different micro tops. And I've got some dill, some parsley, I've got cilantro down here. And then this is my home unit that I'm doing my sprouts on. So there's some baby sprouts going on. And this is what they look like when you let them get too big. And I've got some basil. Somebody had asked me about wheatgrass, so I tried growing wheatgrass for people that like to juice their own. This is actually a propagated slip of a pineapple sage. So I cut it from outside, brought it in and rooted it. And then these are microgreens, sprouts and microgreen mix. And then another basil. We've got some bok choy going on down here. It's growing very quickly. And then this is just a flex base unit without any extension. So you can see it's about the same height as the home and just a little wider base. And then you can see the reservoir in here. You can see the pump down there. And I just want to show you what I use as a water filter. So for Christmas last year, and I'm getting close here, just a second. I'm going to show this to you and then I'm going to run in the other room and turn off that echo.
Gotta unmute. We had to mute it. Sorry.
That's okay. Those are 4 of my towers. I actually own 7. I still have one outside that I need to clean off. And then I have 2 out on loan right now. One at a company that sells seeds, and then one at our dental office that I'm just going to set up and get started.
Wow, thank you so much, Debbie. It's really cool to see all that. This is my one tower. I have the Flex is outside. I just don't have it going yet. So it gets super hot here and sometimes it'll just like burn the vegetables.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
So now, oh, there's Sue's in her office. What all are you growing, Sue? You're muted.
I'm on mute. Sorry about that. I have mostly spicy greens, kale, lettuce. I do mostly greens. We do no lectins and nightshades here, so we don't grow peppers and we don't grow tomatoes or those type of things. So we really focus on the greens that we put in our salads and our smoothies every day. So a lot of, baby chard, radicchio, baby beet, yeah, a lot of that type of stuff, and then some of the herbs. And I did in the spring, I start a lot of my herbs inside, and then I move my herbs outside all summer long. So then I can put other stuff in.
Very good. So if you grow anything that requires pollinating, you have to pollinate them for them if they're inside.
Yeah, there are little tips and tricks. There are fans. You can use little paint brushes. I mean, again, I think a lot of it depends on which ones you want to grow. Everyone's just a little more tricky, but somebody like Debbie has really tried a lot of this, so she can give you the lowdown on the best way to do any one of those particular things.
You can get really great, if you do your research, organic seeds that are different plants that are self-pollinating. But I find a small fan going in the winter because sometimes you miss those blossoms. But you can even just take a paintbrush and just like go in when the bloom is open and just go in and pollinate it, just kind of move around on the inside and get the pollen moving around. This is one of the basils that I'm propagating. You can see the roots on there. So I'll actually soak and cut open a rock wool, take a little elastic and tie it around. And then I'm not gonna start my basil from seed when I have beautiful organic basil that are mature and I'm not using. So sage and basil are really, really easy to cut and propagate. Having a little harder time with rosemary, but I'm growing that from seed without a problem.
And I did the same thing with the scallions, right? So I bought scallions from the store, organic scallions, and then I just rooted them and then put them in my tower garden. I had beautiful scallions in the back of my tower garden for a while this summer.
Yeah, I have a bunch on mine right now. Scallions and celery, amazing. The celery greens are so good in a smoothie. The flavor is unbelievable. And the more you cut them, the more celery that you get.
Yeah. And a lot of people ask, what's the maintenance on them? Well, your maintenance is that, yes, they're very self-sustaining, but you do need to watch the water levels. Like down here, we get in the humidity, I need to add water, and I need to add some of my minerals in there. And then you really need to do a deep clean every so often. So they usually suggest twice a year. You might find you need more based on where you keep it, but you break it down, clean it all up, use a little citric acid, really cleans it out, put it back together. It's a great time if you do it in the change of the seasons. It's a really good time. Like I said, in the spring, I can, in the wintertime, start all my outdoor seeds that I want to do, like my herbs, and then I just break the whole tower down, plant all my herbs outside, and then rebuild and do it in the summertime. So it is pretty easy.
Yeah, and you can take your, if you have plants that you want to move in or out, or you just want to break it down, you can put your plants in a plastic tote. They're good for a day. Because I like to let my tower soak in with some citric acid and baking soda for like hours, 4 to 5 hours. And I just give it a scrub. And I like to do it at the change of season so I can do it outside and I can just use my hose and clean it all off. It's less scrubbing.
And the wheels, don't not get the wheels. You want to make sure you have the wheels. I didn't buy the wheels when I got it, and mine sit on one of those dollies that you get at Harbor Freight, right? It's not ideal. Now, my door to my office is too small. I can't move my Flex outside. So my Flex is stationary. When I break it down, I have to then carry it and wash it outside. So these are all things to consider as you're doing this. It's not that it's very big. I just have a very old-fashioned antique door that's like only 32 inches wide. I mean, it's something that we built down here, and we did it because we brought this old antique door. So, you know, again, it's very easy to move around, but those wheels are ideal because Debbie will often push hers right over to the sink and fill it up with water and then push it back. The Flex is much heavier than the home tower, but you know, I push mine right to the door and I just drag a hose right in from outside. And I also use the filter, Deb, the filter that you have is one that you told me about, which is an RV filter. So I have an RV filter that filters everything out. You just screw it right into your outdoor or whatever port you're using. I use a hose from outside, screw it right in, and it filters everything out. So I have nice clean water.
Yeah, so during the nice season, but because we have a hard frost or freeze for about 4 to 5 months here, I can't do that. So for Christmas last year, I asked for a valve to be put under my sink in the dining room. And now I have one of those like collapsible hoses, and I leave it connected, and I just go fill them all up and turn it off, and I'm good to go. So if you have a handy person in your life that could actually put a hose valve underneath a sink, the water's already there. It's very quick, and you can do that. Or if you're in a climate like in Texas or Tennessee where you can actually have access all year, we actually have to bring our hoses in or they freeze and split.
And you get those filters at an RV store, or you can get them on an Amazon. It's an RV filter. It's one that you can set up for your camper so that you can have clean water in your camper. So they're really easy to get. They're, I don't know, I think mine was like, it was like probably $87, but I've had it for 3 years and I've never had to change the filter. I mean, the filter lasts for like so many hundreds of gallons or whatever, and you're not using that much water. So it's not a big deal. So it's not like it's something you have to worry about.
And I'm not even on town water, so I'm not concerned with chlorine or any of that stuff. I will filter the water because I want it to be as clean as possible. We're actually on a well, but I'm in a farming community, and I don't know what 2 farms over put on their crop that might have gotten into the water table. So I'm just extra cautious. We use a Berkey filter for our water, even though it's well water, good clean well water. I don't know. So I'm just extra cautious just because of our family history.
And the last thing is you have to check your pH. Anytime you add water, you need to check your pH. You're going to find that you run one way or the other. My water here is very high in pH. And so I spend a lot of time dropping my pH down because the plants like there's little kits, just like the science kits. I mean, again, very easy to do, doesn't take much. Yep, there you go, that's it. It takes all of 30 seconds to do, and then it comes with you get the pH minus or the pH plus. It's a kit you get from them right back here. So I've got to find somebody who lives in a different country, in a different zone that wants a lot of pH plus, because I got a lot of pH plus. So
you can just order the pH.
Yeah.
You can just order
Didn't know that when I first started. So again, something I learned.
Because I don't grow a lot of peppers or tomatoes, and those are the things that like the high acid. Or say you were doing strawberries, lots of people will do an entire tower of strawberries because they like a more acidic water, where lettuce, they love basic. So really high alkalized water. And if you live in town and you have chlorine and fluoride, you don't want to be putting that into your plant. So you just want to filter that out, just to get the best quality food for your body.
Well, and so something like strawberries, I have a couple of people that do strawberries too. And the reason you do the strawberries is because organic strawberries can still be sprayed with pesticides up until the time that they fruit. So guess what? It's really not organic, because who says when it fruited and it's still being sprayed on the plants? You growing your own strawberries in your own tower and having that is just amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people that are sensitive to strawberries aren't actually sensitive to strawberries. They're sensitive to what they've sprayed on the strawberry, or a chemical fertilizer that they put into the soil. So it's just amazing that you can create what you need for your body without all of the yuck.
Questions?
Simple. I like it because it's simple. I can travel for 2 weeks and just walk away, close the door, and yeah.
I
That's
have a
one of the reasons I
question.
did it.
Sure, Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, for those that don't know me, I'm Jewel Tabor. I'm Jennifer's mom. Hi, Susan. Hi, Deb. Okay, so I do love peppers and tomatoes and strawberries. So I would probably want 2 tower gardens because I want the greens too. So I wouldn't use
So
the high acidity
I would
with
start
the,
with one and go from there and see how you do. I've grown mixed
oh,
towers. I've grown mixed towers, and I've got amazing peppers and tomatoes and lettuces. But I just know that if I have a whole tower of something that loves like a real alkaline water, it'll grow faster. The same thing with
okay.
tomatoes. So I would say start with one, go from there. You'll figure it out as you go, which is great. And that's the whole learning process, right? It's just like what will grow for me in my climate is going to be different than Jen, because you guys have heat and humidity, even if you're inside. And then some people will grow. I have a couple in Florida that grow in their garage. It's zero light,
Wow.
so it's only the light that they give it, but they're getting a little bit, it's getting a little cooler. And I like to keep that area of the house a little bit cooler in the winter, just so I'm not going through water. So that's something you have to consider too. If you're outside and windy, you're gonna get evaporation from your tower. Or if you're inside and very humid, you're gonna build up algae.
Mm.
Yeah, so, and I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's got to play around a little bit and figure it out. And that's why we have different communities. So we can like bounce different things off each other and kind of like troubleshoot.
And
Oh, is that me or is that?
No, I think
No.
Jewel froze.
Okay.
Yeah, she froze.
It's usually me out in the country.
I don't know if that'll come back.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Everybody's.
There are lots of great Tower Garden chat groups. I find some better than others. Some are just complaining about bugs and stuff. Oh, there, Jewel's back.
oh, do you want to finish what you were saying?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I have the big old 1930s through 50s picture window in a living room, but it's in front of like where the western sunset comes in. It gets really hot in the afternoons. That's where I wanted to put my tower. I guess I would get some blinds and kind of turn them up a little or so.
I'd play around with it. Certain plants love
Okay.
the light. And I always, when people say about their lights, like you can set the time. So some people love to set the timer. So at 9 o'clock at night, when it's time to get ready for bed, the lights go off. You don't need lights on in the room that your tower's in, by the way. You're going to save money just from your electrical bill because those lights are so amazing. And they're actually the same frequency as the happy lights people buy that have seasonal depression issues. Probably not in Texas, not a big deal, but in Canada, we have months without good, strong sunlight. So people buy these expensive seasonal depression lights. And I'm like, just get yourself a tower garden. Plus you get the like ion release. So, the cascading water, the actual negative positive ion release from a waterfall, you get it with a tower garden, and you get the extra oxygen from the tower. So it's giving you clean oxygen and it's using up your carbon dioxide. So
Oh,
there's a
so
lot more
cool.
benefits to towers. I have people that buy them and just grow flowers. They don't even care about the food. They want the light, they want the sound, they want the just the beauty of something green growing in their house. A lot of older ladies that have moved to apartments that don't have a garden anymore, they'll just grow like flowering plants on them. It's great. I mean, they're so adaptable.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Any other questions? Oh, it looks like Dina's connecting to audio. Did she have?
Oh, yeah, she's not feeling well. I think she's just listening in. So she'll probably ask questions later.
Okay. Or
Yeah.
even type them in the text chat. Have you been watching the chat box there at all?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in the chat. So for my tower, my seeds took, a week or two, depending on the seed, to sprout enough to be ready to go into the tower. And then this has only been like maybe a month or something. I think it's only been like a month. And I haven't even had to add more water to it. And this is the indoor one. So it's finally getting, it's just a little more than halfway down in the water. But once the tower is completely full, like if my lettuces are looking like this, I'm having to add water once a week. It's usually once a week thing.
Yeah, top it up when everything is big. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when you add your minerals, and then you balance the pH. It's really quick and easy.
And a lot of people are like, oh, you're going to have to like cut all that lettuce and refrigerate it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. People don't understand that with the tower. We're so used to getting food from the grocery store. You just keep picking those bottom leaves off your lettuce and the thing keeps growing. I had a lettuce that was like way out here. We were still picking. And like I think it was a 6-month-old romaine. And we just kept picking and picking and picking. Unless it flowers, you can keep picking from it. If it gets a little bitter, you pull it out, plant another seed. But
yeah. Okay, so I probably just need to know where to get them then.
awesome. Yeah. Sue, are you going to look after doing that? Because percentage is going to go to the orphanage, right?
Yep. A percentage is going to go to the orphanage. Jen, what I will do is I will send you, I've got my link here. I will send you my link. And when you send out the recording, you can send out my link as well. Both Debbie and I are happy to answer any questions about the Tower Garden and help you, with that. So it's not a big deal. It's, again, it's fun, it's quick, it's easy, nutritional value, happy value. I mean, there's just a lot that goes on with it that people enjoy. And again, you'll be doing something great. You'll be supporting Jen's wonderful, wonderful nonprofit.
Curriculum, yes.
Yep.
Marcy, Sue can get the curriculum. It's amazing. And it goes by grade, Sue, if you need a hand finding that. There's a lot of really great charts that you can print out for school. If you're homeschooling, it's amazing. We have programs here. We have, I think, 36 towers in the local daycares, and their chefs that feed the kids have met, and there's recipes that you can get as well that are Tower Garden specific. Very cool.
Yeah. Jen, I can't find the link at the present moment. It will not come up. It's telling me that it doesn't like my email or my password. So somewhere in there I've done something. I moved my website name. So there's a little glitch in the website name. So it's
Okay.
It's fighting me a little. I've got my member number, which I found, but I'm struggling with the link. But what I do have, as I can put in, if people would like it, I have a little informational set of videos, it's like a 6 email video thing. I can get that link and you can put it in there, and my links are in that, but it also tells you a little bit about the Tower Gardening if anybody wants that. So let me just quickly jump in and find that. That's an easy one to find. And then if anybody wants to just grab that link, you sign up. I don't spam you. It's nothing like that. I did it just so that people could find information.
Just so you know what the clips look like. This is what they look like. The rockwool sits right on top of it. And it's great if you're doing what Sue was talking about, starting your seeds in and growing them out to plant outside, because you can just lift this out, grab it, and take it outside and plant it. Also, one of my tricks is, because of my background, these dental floss picks make for really great markers. Little painter's tape, write on what the seed is in there, wrap it around, and pop it in your rockwool. And then make sure it's a clean, sanitized one. I don't want your like used bacteria going into the tower. But the nice thing is you can recycle these after, but I actually use them over and over and over, and I just put more painter's tape on there. So I know what seeds I'm growing. Or some people just do like the Russian roulette seed planting and just throw it all in the garden and figure out what it is once they grow big enough that you know what they are.
I never know what mine are. People are like, what is that? I'm like, I have no idea. I just put a bunch of seeds in there. I just pop them in the tower garden. I'm like,
something yummy
I
that I wanted, something yummy that I thought would be good to grow.
It all goes together in a salad, right?
I threw the link to my little 3-part series or 4-part series for Tower Garden. It's in the chat if anybody wants to go in. My links are in there as well to actually order a Tower Garden. And this is just a little informational campaign. So again, talks a little bit about the different things. There's some links in there and things like that. So
and just, I don't know if in the States it's the same in Canada. When you order your tower, just from a frustration standpoint, you order your base unit first, and then you add your stuff in if you want to do the 12 months. If you go in and you say, oh, I'm going to start and I'm going to add this and this, like lights and the wheels, it won't let you do it. You actually have to like order your base unit and then add, if you want extra rockwool, you want your lights and all that stuff, add it on, and then it's divided by 12. So if you want extra rockwool, it'll get divided by 12. If you want extra tonic, you can't order extra seeds. You only get the seeds that come with your starter kit, and you get this little clamshell to get you started. Soaking rockwool, soak your rockwool, drain it off, then plant your seeds, but you get everything in here that you need. You get, like, you basically order the kit, it comes, everything except for the water filter is there. And if you need a link for that, I can send it to you, Jen.
Okay, that sounds good. So Marcy had gotten a tower used from somebody she got a great deal on. So in the chat, she's saying that she just needs to get her nutrients, rockwool, etc. So yeah, so it would be the mineral A and B. It would be the pH kit and your rockwool and the vermiculite.
And if you didn't get clips, these are, you know what? Sometimes you get a little bit of algae buildup and you're like, how am I going to clean that? If you have the basket, you have to lift it out with a full grown plant. You're going to break all of the leaves off. If you have a clip, you can very easily grab the clip, stick it on the side or in a glass, and then clean that area and easily put it back. I also, for somebody that is local that signs up, I grow seedlings for them, and then I can take them out of my tower. And when their tower's set up and ready, I'll gift them a little plant that's already ready to go so that they don't have to wait the 4 weeks till they have something green on their tower. So
I did find my link too. I just put it in there. So I did find my link.
Ah, good job. Okay. So you can see the links in the chat, and I'll send those out to you with the recording.
And know that Sue and I and Jen are here to answer questions like a month, 6 months down the road that you need something or have a question, just like throw it in a chat and somebody will answer it.
Yes. Yeah, I would not have been successful without having somebody to chat with. So I really appreciate you ladies. I love my tower. So I've got some little babies here, some chives growing stuff. So
that lettuce is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, who knew lettuce was supposed to taste that good?
Oh, look how green it is, right? I mean, the green is just beautiful.
You can't buy lettuce that's that green. You can't.
If I bump my camera, it just goes off. Trying to turn it back on.
You, I mean, even if you have an organic farmer that cuts lettuce and takes it to a farm market, it's going to be hours after that you buy it. The nutrients are going to be already lost. So of course that's better than grocery store wrapped in plastic traveling hundreds of miles. But if you can just eat it right off the tower, like I'm in there, you know, cleaning up, checking my water, eating my sprouts.
Yeah, it's great. I know I had let my towers go, and then I was having to get lettuce at the store. Oh, sorry, I'm locked up. My camera is not being very friendly right now. But I was having to get the bags of lettuce at the store, and it just gets so slimy and gross. And I'm like, why am I spending money on this? Just let's get the tower going again. So I'm really pleased.
And from a waste perspective, like I just pick and eat. Like I never have to refrigerate anything. Sometimes I have to run to the tower and grab a few more things because we're like, oh, we just like a little more salad. Well, let me go like pull off 7 or 8 more leaves. But and the other thing is, who's going to buy 9 different kinds of lettuce and herbs? So you don't get that variety of nutrients that your body needs.
Yeah, very good. Okay, well, if anybody has any questions, feel free to message me. You can go find Sue Johnson on Facebook or whatever. Message her, and I'll make sure you have the links. Debbie's also often available. So we're here. Just let us know. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.